What's your most NSFW family moment? My uncle cheated on my aunt with her brother's wife for a while about 17 over 18 years ago. Nobody outside of those 4 people know except me and my eldest cousin, because my aunt got drunk one family reunion and told us. Everyone thinks the 2 families just hate each other for some petty reason. What makes it worse is my aunt has a child who is turning 18 who looks nothing like his dad, but strikingly similar to my other uncle. Yet nobody has ever mentioned anything, and we have never brought it up. TL. Doctor, my cousin might be my cousin. One Thanksgiving. Many years ago, my mom got the bright idea that, before eating we would go around the table and everyone would share what they were thankful for. My dad told her repeatedly that he wasn't doing that, and that was a bad idea, but she insisted. So we are sitting there at the table waiting to see what happens. My whole family was in attendance. Brother, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, and my grandmother. My dad volunteers to go first, and the look on my mom's face is one where she's trying to decide if she should be worried about what he's going to say, mixed with wondering if he just decided to play along. My dad says, "I'm thankful that I'm 50 years old and I can still get a rock hard erection." Half the table died laughing. Half the table was uncomfortable. My mom was pissed, and my dad got exactly what he wanted and stopped that whole process in its tracks. Then it was dinner time. Your mom should have seen it coming. P. Went to tell my brother that a classmate of ours had passed away. He didn't answer when I knocked, so I assumed he was sleeping and opened the door. Wrong. He was jacking off with headphones on. I managed to leave and close the door without him knowing I was there. Now that classmate is forever linked in my mind to my brother jacking off. Headphones on with an unlocked door. Very risque. My mom came home one day to a giant pair of tits flapping up and down in the computer screen with the volume on high. Coincidentally, my brother was the only one home that day. If there are flapping tits on a computer screen and no one is there to hear them, do they make a sound? Was having a wank when my dad walked in. Shocked, I turned around, I was clothed. Just had my dick out. He asked what I was doing. Startled, I said nothing. "Are you doing drugs?" Dash. That shocked me more than him finding me wanking. I told him no, and I said I was checking my balls for lumps. "Oh, okay then." And left. Nothing more said about it. Step 1. Breathe the drugs in through your penis. Till penises can breathe. Is that why they go limp after being in a vagina for too long? They suffocate and die. Yeah. But it's only a little death, so they get better after about 10 or 15 minutes. My mom gave me a kidney, and during our recovery she really wanted to see me, but the hospital wouldn't let her because she had complications from the surgery and was pretty out of it, but somehow she managed to slip out of her room and come find me. Mind you, I was on a completely opposite floor from her, so IDK how the peep she found me. But anyway, it was my first official day eating solid foods, so I was pretty excited until she got there. While I was eating, here comes my mom into my room, and for some reason she decided it was the perfect time to undress. I mean, full frontal view of my mom, bush and all, and she goes, "Michael, look at what they did to me. Look at these scars." Needless to say, I will never eat Fruit Loops again and not be reminded of my mom's bush. This gave me a good chuckle. Follow your nose. I was having trouble with my radiator and had no toolbox, so I asked my dad if I could borrow his. He came over and said he'd fix it for me. I hadn't had time to clean up since he only lives 2 minutes away, so he started reading me my rights about how messy my house is, etc. etc. As he was lamenting over my clothes being on the floor, he opened my wardrobe to demonstrate how much room I had. In my wardrobe, there is a box. My dad looked down at the box. The box was open. The box was filled with fetish gear and sex toys. My dad closed the wardrobe and fixed my radiator. Oh god. This is very similar to a moment that still has me cringing. I was moving, and my parents decided to help me move. My girlfriend and I have a fetish box as well. Strap-on, pumps, about 10 feet of rope, butt plug, lube, rings, all the necessities. Well, my GF, bless her heart, thought it would be funny and stealthy to label the box books, but the two us having eyes. Like boobs. Yay, we're mature. Anyway, I'm in the new place unpacking boxes and my dad walks in with a books box. Rob Stark discovered it. This box is really light for books. Let me make sure you got the right box here. No, I know what's in there. It's Fee. He cuts the box open, and it's all there. I'm positive the stench of so many fluids have just invaded his nostrils. He just stares for about 20 seconds, taking it all in. At this point I've gone past being ashamed. I'm ready for him to berate my sexual desires. He closes the box and just walks away. Which felt more like, I'm just disappointed more than anything. About 20 minutes goes by, and he comes back in and just asks me, no warm up. Why do you need another dick? Feels good. At that moment I realized my father, a rigid, military, right-wing, had no idea what a strap-on was. And that opened up a peeping can of worms. I had to make an emergency scramble while helping my brother move. His mother-in-law came to help him and his wife pack. She says to start in the living room and she'll go get more boxes. Wife mouths the porn. His face falls, and I made a dash for the living room to begin stashing all the porn underneath other videos into the one box they did have, so Mill doesn't ask what Asian tacos lines is. When I was 12 to 13, at a hotel room with my parents for a basketball tournament gold medal, thanks for asking. They peeped. In the bed right next to mine. 10 minutes after lights out. I never mentioned it to anybody. Last weekend I was visiting New York City, and lo and behold we share a hotel room. They peeped. Again. No way, babe. Oh come on. He slept through it the last time we did at that basketball tournament. And from the next bed, muffled, no I didn't. My grandma told my whole family at dinner that she had sex on the beach once. When asked when, she replied, when I was 76. At least she is still getting it at that age. From what I understand, nursing homes have a very high rate of STD transfer. Old people get it on more than anyone would like to think about. I work for a delivery company where we deliver to a ton of retirement homes. The ladies outnumber the men like 5 to 1. Whenever we deliver to a man, the response to "how's it going?" is great. I thought I'd hate this place, but it's alright with that weird tone people get when they are talking about sex. With that weird tone people get when they are talking about sex. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. Not me, but my cousin who has a bit of a drinking problem was staying at our grandparents' house for a local festival. She proceeds to get hammered drunk and walks home. Walks in the door, goes to the bathroom, and gets naked and crawls into bed. The problem is that it wasn't in the room she was sleeping in. It was in my grandparents' room. So crawled in next to my grandfather naked. I was at my first real girlfriend's house when I was in high school. We would have sex in the basement, finished basement, when her family was home to avoid any walk-ins. After I finished, it was common practice to tie the condom in a knot and avoid throwing it in the trash bin to avoid the mom finding it when she was cleaning. So I left it on top of the ping pong table thinking I could take it upstairs with me. When we decided to leave, the ping pong table was right next to the couch. Well, I've peeped up. Her father and little brother thought it was a good time to go downstairs and play ping pong. The brother gets to the table first, sees the used rubber, picks it up, the load of semen just dangling there, holds it out, turns to his father and says, "Dad, what is this?" The dad's face was of sheer terror as he screamed at his son to drop it, grabbed his wrist, and stomped upstairs, all while not breaking eye contact with me. I guess that instilled a fear of birth control into the poor girl. She got knocked up in college by a man her dad's age. Goddamn. That last line. Mom walked into the bathroom when I was having some personal time. It's been 6 months, and we still avoid eye contact. Well yeah. That means that you've established dominance. The world is your wank space now. I was back in town to see my family, and I met up with my dad and stepmom. They were out drinking with some of our closest family friends. Well, after about an hour or so they are getting pretty drunk and rowdy. I notice the women, including my stepmom, start getting real flirtatious with each other. Mind you, there are 5 couples including my parents at this gathering. I watch it continue, and I have to admit I'm a little uncomfortable seeing all these people I grew up around being overly sexual in public and in general. After a while I finally said, "What the f*** is going on here?" to my parents. My stepmom started laughing and replied drunkenly with, "To be honest, you're the only one in this room I haven't f***ed." Needless to say, I left quickly after that. You haven't watched enough porn to know that there was definitely a need to say that. I was caught mid-wank by my sister's then boyfriend, who was living with us at the time. I covered things up quick enough, which was a good thing as I was wanking to a porn mag I found under his bed. When I was around 13, I was in bed awake on the couch in our mobile home. Main bed went to my mother and 2 single beds in one room went to my sisters. My cousin and her fiance were staying with us that night on the only other bed, which was the table converted into a bed in the sitting room/kitchen room I was in. When they got home from being out on the town, I pretended to be asleep. I heard them start looking around for something and saying they couldn't find, and it sounding very disappointed. I jokingly thought to myself, AWW, they're mad because they can't find the condom. 5 minutes later they found what they were looking for. 2 minutes later they're having sex about 3 feet away from me. At one point I got a dead arm and had to adjust myself. I gave them both a heart attack, but they still didn't know I was awake. Edit. Sister should have been plural. My mom chased my teenage brothers around the house inside and out with a dildo once. I had the chance to ask my brother about it later. He was pissed about it at the time, but I was like 6. And my mom was laughing so much, so I thought everyone was having a good time. Looking back at it, I can see why he was pissed. Mom's dildo. And why she thought it was so funny. Good memories. I'm imagining yakety sax playing while picturing this in my head. There was a time when my family lived in a tiny apartment. We had one bedroom with a double-deck bed. My parents slept on the bottom bunk and my older sister and I slept at the top. Well, one night I wake up to the bed shaking and peeking below. I realized my parents were having sex. I was like maybe 8 or 9, so I wasn't really grossed out but just really confused. My sister slept through the entire thing, or so I've always thought. There was a question over in /r/ask historians a few months or so ago about what happened in ye olden days when everyone shared a one-room house and also shared a bed. The answers boiled down to kids slept in the bed while the parents did it, or parents had to get creative and find other places. So it's sort of like you got to live through a piece of history. Edit/u/Ulfjani asked for the link, and I was able to dig it up. Figured I'd link to it here for everyone who is interested. I feel like, when you share a one-room home with half a dozen other people, privacy just isn't a thing. At our extended family's Christmas party one year, when I was like 8 years old, my aunt wanted to show my family the video she took on their latest vacation. Except when they start watching the VHS, it suddenly cuts to a video that my 16-year-old cousin her son took of a bunch of girls flashing their boobs. Apparently he had a house party while his mom was on a work trip and accidentally taped over his family vacation. So here are like 20 family members watching my cousin's own personal Girls Gone Wild video. Needless to say, he was in trouble. My husband and I had to move in with his parents for about 3 months when we were having financial issues. As I have the very last bag in my hand ready to move to our new home, I sat the bag on the living room floor and went to the bathroom. When I came out, something was going off in the bag. I said it's probably our son's Thomas the Tank Toy. My mom-in-law dives right in and pulls out my vibrator and holds it up for like 30 seconds, like she's the Statue of Liberty holding up her peeping torch. My father-in-law and brother-in-law were also right there in the room. Needless to say, they still bring it up, and Thomas the Train is now code for vibrator in that family. Lol. The things Thomas has seen. The places he's been. Some tunnels are just one way only.